Hi guys, welcome to the next video. I said that I would go ahead and come back and start talking a little bit about the eagles, and I think that's what I want to do in this particular video. In Ezekiel 1 and in Ezekiel 1 and 10, I believe. I mean, there's all different kinds of scriptures that have these creatures that we were talking about identified. Let's see, it's in Ezekiel 1, Ezekiel 10. They're also mentioned in Revelation 4. I think I have a hint as to what it might be. But I want to do a little bit more study on that before I come and bring that out. So I want to go ahead and go in and just talk about the eagles a little bit, and a little bit of kind of what I know I could go ahead and share now. And I think it'll be a good foundational video for us before we go into the other one. Okay, so when I was going through just taking a look and seeing about some of the information about eagles, remember I had told you I had done a study on it back in 2012, and I pulled out some of the information of the study that I did, and I kind of want to just go over a little bit about some of the attributes of what eagles have. And when I did some research back in 2012, I just kind of highlighted some of the main aspects. There's so much more about eagles that I don't have any information to tell you tonight, but I would encourage you to go and look it up and do some research on your own in regards to this. And they have some wonderful National Geographic videos out there with the eagles, and they do a fantastic job talking about them as well. So I just wanted to go ahead and start taking a look at this, and the information that I had put together back in 2012, I was assembling it as to information for women. It was something that I was providing for women to encourage them and to have them take a look at relationships in their lives and different things of that nature. And so even then, it was still a really good teaching tool that I was using at that point. And so one of the main bullet points that I said was that eagles only fly with other eagles. They don't fly with anybody else. I said eagles fly higher than any other bird. They do not fly with sparrows. They do not fly with doves or other smaller birds. Other birds cannot get to the heights that an eagle can, no matter how hard they try. And eagles should never resort to the low depths of other birds. Interesting how many people have had to pluck out relationships that were driving them down in their own lives. Eagles that hang around with chickens with their heads down pecking on the ground are not a pretty sight. They can be immediately picked out of the group as eagles by God and by other eagles. No matter how hard they are trying to blend in with the chickens. Now, isn't that the truth? I mean, have you ever been just in a situation where you just feel like you just don't even belong? I mean, there is just like, you just don't belong. I mean, you're like, and you stick out like a sore thumb. There's just, I mean, that is a true statement. And so I was saying, whom are you flying with these days? God knows who you are. So do not waste your time with others, who do not know or really care to know who you are. You must stay true to who you are and not conform yourself to others around you. An eagle's vision is extremely strong and their focus is unwavering. It has been reported that an eagle can see up to 1.5 miles away, remains focused on their prey, and gets its goal regardless of the obstacles in its path. Sounds a lot like what is required for success, doesn't it? Another interesting report of eagles is that they're able to carry the weight of a young deer, around 6 to 8 pounds, for food. Can you envision what a young deer looks like to an eagle? I would imagine it would be similar to taking down a giant. However, regardless of the obstacle, they do it. The eagle's talon strike is so powerful it has been likened to the force of a rifle shot, and their feathers allowing them to dive has been equaled to the strength of an airplane. Now, I just listened to a video about an eagle's speed, and I made a note on it, and I want to see what it is. Oh, here it is. It is an extremely fast bird, is what I notated here. Incredible speed. Drops on its prey anywhere between 120 and 125 miles per hour. So can you imagine the air currents and the pressure that they have to handle with their wings and their body? I can't even imagine the speed that their body would have to. I mean, we can be riding in a car at 55 miles an hour with the top down, and and our face is flopping back, and or you can even do your hand out the window, and you can feel the wind on your skin, and the skin is moving on your hand. It's so much pressure, even just at 55 miles an hour. Can you imagine at the speeds of 100 and 125 miles an hour? I mean, that is just incredible if you think about it. It's incredible. These birds built by the hand of God for specific things, and when he says that we are going to mount up on wings like eagles and we are getting ready to fly, then you have to know that he has prepared us for the same types of things. And so as we go through some of this information, I want you to kind of keep that in mind, because that's why we're looking into this. And we're not just looking at, a bird. We're looking at what the attributes are that the Lord is expecting us to do. Okay? And he's been talking about in these last couple of messages, you can mount up on your wings, you're getting ready to fly. Okay? And so we really need to grasp in our minds and understand exactly what he's trying to tell us here. So it's been equal to the strength of an airplane, and I can believe that. Eagles only eat fresh prey. They don't eat anything already dead. So my question is what eats the dead stuff? Vultures. They wait around for stuff to die, or fly to eat where something was killed without having to extend effort for the cause. Almost sounds like some folks at family reunions, huh? Eagles love stormy weather. And why would that be? Eagles get excited about the storms because of the raging winds that can lift them to even higher heights. They sit and they know a storm is coming. Because of their vision, they know a storm is coming. But even past the physical side of it, Christians, some Christians are eagle Christians, is what Neville Johnson called them a while back in some study that I had done, and he calls them, and they have an eagle spiritual vision. And they know what's coming. They're able to tell you what's getting ready to head this direction, and they can tell you to try and help you prepare. And so they sit and they wait. They know, and they're waiting on the storms because that's when they can soar. That's when they can take off. And so that's what they love. They wait around on the wind so that they can soar. Do you ever see other birds out in the rain or storms? Not many, because most of them are hiding back in their nests or some other place for protection until the storm is over. That's like Matthew 23. Let me see if I pulled out that scripture. Matthew 23:37 or something. Hang on, let me look. Matthew, Matthew 23:37. It says, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the one who kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to her. How often I have wanted to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing." And so this is painting a picture there in that particular scripture of, of birds needing to be protected for, for something that was coming. And so, but not an eagle now. An eagle will go right on out because they can sniff it in the wind, they see it coming, they know it's coming, and they wait on it. And when the time is exactly right, they take off and they soar. So they're not running for their nests for protection in any way, shape, or form. And so the note that I have here is soar as high as you can when God's winds blow. Things have a different perspective from up here. See things from God's perspective. You were born for the high places of the earth. An eagle does not trust until they test the other. Typically, a female eagle will test a male eagle for commitment in order to allow the mating process. God tests us in many ways to increase our faith. We talked about that yesterday, which is explained in the Bible as proving by trial. A lot of tests or trials make us move out of our comfort zone, but for our benefit. However, God will never test you past what you can handle and always provides a way out. A ram in the bush. He'll provide a ram in the bush. Eagles stir the nest to encourage their young to try new things. As an eaglet gets older, the eagle starts taking out the softer feathers out of the nest to make it just a little bit more uncomfortable for them. This is done to make the eaglet want to leave the nest. However, not all eaglets are as welcoming of the idea of flight or anything else outside of the warm, soft nest. We all get too comfortable somewhere and must move on to experience life. I learned at a very young age, I learned early on in being a parent that being a good mother does not win you any popularity contests, that's for sure. But so what happens is, even God does this to us. God does the same thing. He allows sticks and thorns to prick us. And once he starts stirring up the nest, something in our lives that was once satisfactory has now become uncomfortable and not enough. The sticks and thorns urge us to move forward and try new things, and it can be very scary at first, but soon we find that bigger and brighter things are out there for us. And Deuteronomy 32:11 talks about that, talks about the stirring of the nest. Let me see if I can, I tried to get all these scriptures out. Yeah, Deuteronomy 32:11. As an eagle stirs up its nest, hovers over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up and carrying them on its wings. Now, this is real interesting because when the mother eagle has children in the nest and wanting to go ahead and get them to where they'll start testing to fly maybe from one limb to another limb or what have you. But if they have one that is not, taking the initiative about doing that, they'll start urging it out and, removing some of the softer feathers and all different kinds of things so that, the young eaglet will go ahead and try to start to fly. And it'll even get to the point where the mother will push them completely out of the nest. Now, they're not just falling like this high. Eagles have their nests way up in the mountains, way up in the tall trees, way up. And, so what happens if you push them out and the eaglet is just, doesn't take to flight the first time? Well, the mother comes swooping down, gets them, and takes them back up before they even hit the ground. Now, I'm telling you, I was learning that information about that. I said, man, isn't that something? Now, how scary is that, though? How scary is that to be pushed out of your nest, and just be free falling, not know what to do, and then they come in, and then she'll come in and swoop you and take you back up. I would imagine after you get back up into that nest as an eaglet, you're probably thinking, first off, when stop shaking, you can probably just, start thinking about, wow, man, that was pretty scary. And, and if that happened again, I guess I'd do this. If that happened again, I guess I'd do that. My office mate is an ex-military person. And so he was mentioning something one day. He was talking about his first jump out of the airplane with his parachute. And I was asking him all kinds of questions about it. It wasn't today. It was some time back, but I find it very interesting that I asked him all of these questions because I said to him, well, what was it like? Were you afraid? Were you scared? And he was like, yeah, I was pretty nervous. He had never jumped out of a plane before, and he knew he had his parachute and everything. He said, but in the plane, it was really loud. It was really loud, and your heart was beating, and, you knew you were in line. You had to do it. You had to get up, and two before you, the one jumped out, you're counting in your mind, okay, 2 more, 1 more, and, and I got to go. And he said, I just did it. He said, I was petrified and I jumped out. He said, but the minute I jumped out, he said, I knew I had my parachute. He said, but the minute I jumped out and I pulled that chute, he said, it was so quiet. He said, it was quiet. He was just, coming down. He was looking all over the countryside. He said it was the most beautiful ride he's ever had in his life. And I thought, how neat that is to hear. But but he was able, his chute worked, things worked for him. But and I thought to myself, wow. I said, would you do it again? Oh yeah, I'd do it again. And I was like, wow. And then you see all these folks that are up there and they're doing these jumping out of the planes with other people, these skydiving stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, that you're braver than me. I'm not sure I could do that. I'm not sure I could jump out of an airplane. Maybe I could. I don't know. That is just not my cup of tea. That's just not my cup of tea. So anyway, so I was going through this and I was thinking, man, that is, that's pretty wild. That's pretty awesome stuff. And then there was a quote that I ran across many years ago, and I documented it down. And this is what it was. It said, and it's by Patrick Overton. It's one of my favorites. When you walk to the edge of all the light you have, and take that first step into the darkness of the unknown, then you must believe one of two things will happen. There will be something solid for you to stand upon, or you will be taught how to fly. And that just spoke to me. It just spoke to my heart. It spoke to my spirit. I ran across this back in 2012, and I had it notated down in my study information, and and I've never forgotten it to this day. It is one that when I am put up against something that I'm not quite sure where my next step, I can't see where I'm going to place my next footstep. I have to remember I serve a mighty God, and He's never going to leave nor forsake me, and He's going to provide for me, and it's going to be either something firm footing for me to stand on, or I'm getting ready to fly. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that with everything that I am. And it takes time to get to that point, though. It takes time to get to that point, and you have to build up your faith and your trust in Him. So let me encourage you to that's what we need to be working on. I ran across another quote, too, that I want to go ahead and just read to you as well before I go ahead and close up my old study information here. This was a quote by James Aughy, which is Aughey, and it's speaking of the church. And it says, "The church is not a select circle of the immaculate, but a home where the outcast may come in. It is not a place with gate attendants and challenging sentinels along the entranceways, holding off at arm's length the stranger, but rather a hospital where the broken-hearted may be healed, and where all the weary and troubled may find rest and take counsel together." And I read that quote and I thought to myself, I pray you attend a church like this. I pray you attend a church like this, because truly that's what Jesus walked. He healed. He didn't hold the stranger off. He didn't hold the sinner off. He welcomed them up to them and said they were forgiven. And when I read this, I thought to myself, there's so many churches out there that are not like this. But I believe in what we're coming to, what we're walking forward. This is what we're going to start to do. We're going to be healing. We're going to be doing all different kinds of miraculous things that we saw Jesus do, and even things that even far and above that. I feel like limbs will grow back. I think there's going to be all different kinds of miracles that are going to be happening at that time. And it is a place where the outcast can come in, where the sinner can come in, where the lowly can come in, the humble, the meek, the mild. They're all welcome. They're all welcome with Jesus. They're all welcome. And it is, to me, some of these churches that you can walk in, and I'm not trying to dog them. I'm really not. They're going to learn what truth is too here very soon, and it's going to be a very exciting time, and a lot of us are going to be there to help them and to help guide them at that point. But we're all in need of a hospital. We're all in need of healing. We're all in need to have our hearts mended. Our wounds healed. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people walk around that they're shattered, they're broken, they're just pieces of their former self, just because of the battles and the things that they've had to walk through in this life. And the sad part about it is that they don't know Jesus is there for them, and that He's already paid the price for their healing and for their restoration and to be restored. They don't know. They don't know that that's available to them. And if they know what He did on the cross, they don't understand it all. And they've not been told. They don't know. And it's like I said before, if you it's going to take for some people to be face to face with love, to be face to face with that light, that draw, that peace, that emanating complete love, just coming on you and just filling every orifice and part of your being. It just is a wave, and again another wave, and it's just, I love you. I accept you. I love you as you are. Come to me. I mean, I've been waiting for you. I'm your father. I'm your, and just breaking down the walls that are built within these people. I'm telling you, when I have said before in the past that what we're going to be doing and walking through and helping the Lord with during the harvest, and turning people's hearts toward their Father again is 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 going to be exhilarating, exciting, but it's going to be heart-wrenching too, because you can't be around someone that is hurting and not feel it yourself. You can't be around someone that is just crying out in so much emotional pain when they cry from the pits of their stomachs, like like they're a wounded animal. I mean, you cannot stand there and not have compassion and feel the things that they're going through. And so we are going to see some pretty heart-wrenching things. We're going to see freedom in a lot of people's lives. We're going to see when the mute is able to speak, how excited are they going to be? When the deaf are going to hear, for the first time in their whole life, they're going to hear the birds singing. Don't tell me a grown man won't break down, fall on their knees, and start crying and thanking the Lord God Almighty. Don't tell me they won't do it. They will. They will. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff. We're going to be seeing a lot of stuff. But how gracious is our God to include us in that. He can do this all by himself. He doesn't need us. He doesn't need us. But he's included us because he wants us to be included. Guys, what a great and mighty God we serve. What a great and mighty God we serve. Truly, truly. So guys, while I was going through, still trying to get some stuff figured out on the eagles, I wanted to just kind of go over a couple of notes that I had. So we know that from what we have just kind of learned and understood from the eagles, we know that eagles were built a specific way for a specific thing. We know that they were built for soaring. We know that they were built for, diving with their wings, catching the wind with their wings, soaring up high, great amounts of speed, talon strikes, to kill their prey. They were made for heavenly places. They were made for places up there. They weren't made like what we were talking about. They weren't made to be down with the chickens. That's not who they are. That's not who they are. That's not what their heart is. They want to soar. They want to go up higher. And don't pen them in. Don't pen in an eagle. Don't keep an eagle confined. You'll kill it. You'll kill it. They have to have freedom to go, and they have to be able to go as high as they can possibly go. So they soar into the heavens. I mean, that they were made to soar up there. They were made to go. They were made to go. But what's really interesting is that, when you see eagles flying, in the sky, or maybe sitting in a tree. I've seen a couple of eagles in my lifetime sitting in a tree. Most of the time that I have seen them, I've seen them flying, but I only see one. I don't see them flying in pairs. If they have a nest, then you may see more than one at one place, but that's way up in the mountains and high up in the trees. And, I don't have any eagle nests around me, but you think about it. I only see one. So there's not many eagles. There's not many. Not many of them make it up there. Not many of them. So they're made to fly. And when they finally do get up there, they have this vision that they can see their prey. They can see for up to a mile and a half. Remember, we were just talking about that. So they can see their prey, but they're looking down on their prey. They're up. They are made to soar up high, and they're looking down on their prey. And young babes in Christ, we're going to say eagles are the mature ones. If you're young babes in Christ, we're not talking about that. Those are two different individuals. They're two different individuals. The Lord is talking to us now in messages where he's saying, now you can fly. Or what did he say yesterday? I got to say, he said, when we were talking about that message on February the 7th, we were talking about what he said. He said, my dove, flight upon your wings is possible. Because remember, a year before that, I was asking him, Father, tell me what I'm not doing right, because I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave this popsicle stand. I was ready to go. And I had it in my mind I was going to fly, and I needed him to tell me exactly what I needed to do, what needed to be here, and what I was not doing as to how come I was not flying. I wanted to go. And remember, he gave that message. We read this yesterday. He said, albeit that many do not know how to go about flying in the spirit toward the heavens where my home is. So he was saying, not many know how to fly. Well, we just understood that there's not many eagles up there. There's not many eagles up there. So he's even saying here, many do not know how to go about flying in the spirit toward the heavens where my home is. So he's even saying this here. And I'm like, well, then he's telling us now that we're able to do it. Or he's saying to me, daughter, you're able to fly. So now I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean, Lord? What does that mean? Am I flying in the spirit? Am I flying physically? Well, he said here, I'm flying in the spirit. And so now I'm trying to just decipher, okay, now wait a minute. Let's talk about that. I wanted to also talk a little bit about Isaiah 40:31, where he's saying that we wait upon the Lord, we mount upon our wings as eagles. Let's read that scripture. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength, and they shall mount up with wings like eagles, and they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. And when you think about that scripture, when you're waiting on the Lord, you're not rushing forward in your own strength, trying to get something done. You're waiting on the Spirit to come to you. You're waiting on the Spirit to enlighten you, give you revelation, help you understand all of that. So you're not rushing forward to go ahead and do it in your own strength, tiring yourself out, trying to figure everything out on your own. You're waiting on the Lord. You sit and you wait on the Lord. And he says that you'll mount up with wings as eagles. Well, remember what we talked about. When the storms come, the eagles wait. And they can fly when there's no storms, but when that current, that upward draft of a current comes by them, all they do is open their wings. They don't go flapping around trying to get off of the ground like chickens and some of these other birds. They just go right up with the wind, and they just go. They start soaring. So they have to catch that wind current. They have to catch that upward draft, And when the Lord was saying in the messages, all these other messages that he's been talking about, where he says, upon the winds and the waves you shall go. Upon the winds and the waves. I think he's talking about flying. I think he's talking about flying. I sincerely do. So we have to wait on the Spirit of God to come and help us. We can't just rush in and try to push and bully our way into something, or try to do it in our own strength, because we're not going to get it all right. We're not going to get it right. And so we have to wait on him to provide for us as to what we need to do. So I wanted to talk a little bit about if we here it is. It's in Revelation. Let me look this up right quick. There's a scripture in Revelation that caught my eye. Is it Revelation 4? After these things I looked, and behold a door. No, it's before that. Okay, here it is. Revelation 1, verse 10. And this is what he says. He says, I was in the Spirit. Now this is John talking. Okay? This is John talking. And this is in Revelation 1. So this is right in the beginning. And he says, on verse 10, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice as a trumpet. Okay. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. Was he praying? Was he praise and worship? No. He was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. He was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. And I know to some of you it sounds like I'm just repeating it, but I'm really trying to hammer that home. I looked up on Blue Letter Bible. I pulled it up. I went ahead and clicked on that I wanted the Strong's information with it. And when I clicked on the word Spirit, which is G as in George 4151, this is what it says. It's giving all of the Spirit information, and it says the Holy Ghost, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of the Lord, the Spirit of truth, Jesus' own Spirit. Then it goes on to say, a spirit, a human soul that has left the body, a spirit higher than man, but lower than God. Movement of air, of the wind, a human soul that has left the body. A human soul that has left the body. He said, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day. So then I went back and I said, okay, well, let me just see what the Strong's is for the word in, right? Which is G as in George 1722 for the Strong's. And in means in, with, among, by, on, through, etc. But it also means altogether, among, wholly, wholly meaning H-O-L-L-Y, whole, as a whole, in whole. In, on, at, with, by, among. Wholly. Give self wholly to. Wholly. W-H-O-L-L-Y. To give oneself wholly to. Now, when I read that, when I read that, I could not believe what I was hearing or reading. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Because today in prayer on my lunch hour, I talked to the Lord. And I said to myself, Father, I'm coming before you. I'm struggling with this information. I just want to be able to understand what you're trying to say. And I was really struggling trying to hear him. I don't have an office to myself now to where I can really get into some deep prayer. Just sitting at work or what have you, I have an office mate now, and even though he's a very nice gentleman, it's still a clash of spirits. And so I was just writing down or type. No, I wasn't. I was typing it out on my computer. What I felt like the Lord was saying. And the Lord was saying that I just needed to close my eyes and see him. And I didn't see anything. I closed my eyes and did what he asked me to. He said, just let go. Close your eyes and let go. Just let go. And so I didn't know what he was saying, and I opened my eyes, and I didn't see anything in the spirit at all that I'm aware of. And so I just said to the Lord, Father, I don't understand. And he said, you have to surrender. That was the word he said to me today. Surrender. And so when I saw the definition of the in, for in the spirit, and it said give self wholly to, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I said, you have got to be kidding me. Surrender. We have to surrender ourselves to the Spirit, to move into another area. John was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day. He was there. It doesn't say he was sleeping, which is what we all know of right now, right? We all know, At night, we're going places at night. We know this. We've been training. We've been to the island. We've been helping people get into places of safety. We've been, there's all different kinds of places that we have been moving and going to at night. Some of these things that we say are our dreams when we truly have been in places. Are they dreams, or are they remembrances of things that are happening? And so it's not just at night, is what I'm trying to say. Is it at night when let's just put it this way. Is it at night that I'm totally relaxed enough that the Lord can call me, call my spirit, call my soul, and allow, I'm set aside enough that my inner man can actually go and do something without hindrance of me, of all of me. Of all things, I'm hindering myself somehow. Is it because of doubt? Is it because of earthbound chicken thinking? Oh, that was funny. I'm sorry. I mean, but seriously, am I still pecking at the dirt? I want to fly. I see right here, John was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day. Doesn't say he was sleeping. The Lord's Day. I'm identifying that as a Saturday in Israel. But is it a day? Guys, I have to say this. I have to say this. When the Lord is telling us that we're going to be able to fly, when he's telling us this information about being in the Spirit, and then we see this, now this tells me, this kind of just tells me we're going to be able to do it during the day. We're going to be able to enter in. Remember, some of the recent messages is the Lord has said to us, press into me. Today, just today, over lunch, surrender, let go, close your eyes. Today, I'm telling you, I threw the information away. I didn't even keep it. I didn't even save a copy of it. I just said, are you kidding me? And I threw it away. But when I read this, I was like, what did I do? What did I do? And so tonight I'm gonna have to go and repent over it. But I'm telling you guys, there's something here. There's something here. When you look up in the New Testament, is it the New Testament? No. When you look, let's just say the whole King James Version Bible. The eagle itself is mentioned over 30 times. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's over 30. And we know anytime the Lord God provided information in this Bible, it was inspired. And for that many times for an eagle to be mentioned, it's very, very important. We know when something's mentioned just more than once, like verily, verily, we need to pay attention. Hey, that's important. But this is truly important. When we look at these creatures that have all of these faces, and the eagle is one of them, and we know in Revelation 4 they were around the throne, there's something significant about it. And there's something that we need to know about it. Now, the Lord is telling us in messages just this month. that we're going to go on the wind and the waves. Is it the air current? Is that the wave? Is that the wind? You know, are we getting ready to soar in the spirit? Has a door been opened to us that we're able now to have the opportunity to go into another realm? Look what was given to John while he was in that other realm. Look what was given to him in Revelation. He heard behind him the voice of a trumpet. All the information about the churches, he's given all of this stuff. Who does he see? He says, I turned and I saw the 7 golden lampstands, and in the midst of the 7 lampstands, one like the Son of Man, clothed in a garment down to his feet, girded about his chest with a golden band. His head and his hair were white like wool, white as snow, and his eyes were a flame of fire. Can you imagine? We're moving to another level. We're moving to another level. And I believe it's one that a lot of us have been waiting for. It's one that a lot of us have been praying for, looking for, asking about, wondering about. I think it's either here or it's coming. No, I need to correct that. I believe it's here. And that is because of the message that was given on February the 7th. Flight upon your wings is possible. Take flight, my love, and ensure that all those who remain with you are covered by your spread. By my spread. Now, some people will probably hear that message and think, well, you don't have any wings. My physical body doesn't have any wings. But my spiritual man might. Because, guys, we're made in the image of our God. We're made in their image, in His image. And we know that in Psalm 91, let's just take a look at Psalm 91. It talks about covering them with His wings, right? Psalm 91. Let's just read that. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in the darkness, nor the destruction that lays waste at noonday. So guys, This is telling you right here. They have wings, they have feathers, and we were made in their image. So, my physical body may not have any wings, but I got some wings. I got some wings. And I don't know what they look like. But I told y'all that one time when I was asking the Lord about telling me, I was asking the Lord a lot about, I was like, Father, I just want to see my angels. I didn't even know, I hadn't seen any of my angels or anything. And then on my right side, I heard this. No, and it was loud. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I was like, okay. It took me off guard that quickly. But it was loud, like, and I just knew that's what it was. Sometimes you can hear noises, and you're like, I don't need to guess what that was. I know what that was. That's what that was. When I heard that noise, that's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. So anyway, let me come back. So John was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day, and he was getting all of that information while he was in the Spirit. Guys, we are going to have to learn how to do this. We are going to have to learn how to fly. We're going to have to. In the Spirit, we're going to have to learn how to fly in the Spirit. We're going to have to learn how to get and be in heavenly places. Now, let's talk about that for a second. Let's look at a couple of scriptures that I definitely want to show you. Let's look at Ephesians 1 first. Let's look at Ephesians 1, 15 through 23. Therefore I also, after I heard of your faith in the Lord Jesus and your love for all the saints, do not cease to give thanks for you, making mention of you in my prayers, that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of glory, may give to you the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him, the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, what are the riches of his glory, and his inheritance in the saints, and what is the exceeding greatness of his power toward us who believe, according to the working of his mighty power, which he worked in Christ when he raised him from the dead and seated him at his right hand in the heavenly places, far above all principalities and powers and might and dominion, and every name that is named, not only in this age, but also that is which to come. And he put all things under his feet, and gave him to be head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills all in all. And so I was thinking, okay, so Jesus is up there. He's seated in heavenly places, and he's looking down on principalities and powers. He has the authority over them. They are his footstool. Everything down here is put under his feet. It's all put under his feet, even the principalities and powers. And they know that. And so he's up there, and he's seated in heavenly places. But I want to take a look at Ephesians 2. And let's go through Ephesians 2, 4 through 7, maybe 8. But God, who is rich in mercy, because of his great love with which he has loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up together, and made us sit together in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus. That's in the ages to come. he might show us exceeding riches of his grace in his kindness toward us in Christ Jesus. So we're sitting in heavenly places. So now, what's sitting in heavenly places? Our spirit is sitting in heavenly places. So we have to be like John. And we have to be in the Spirit. We have to be able to rise to there and live in that realm. We have to be able to know that realm, understand that realm, feel comfortable in that realm. Be there and understand it and know what's going on, just like we like down here. We know what's going on down here. We need to be up in a higher realm. We need, just like what I had mentioned here, it's a different perspective up there. It's God's perspective up there. It's God's revelation up there. It's His wisdom and His knowledge. And we just need to get into that realm, into that dimension, that area, that spirit, as John called it. He was in the spirit. We have to get into that to be able to hear and be given information that we're going to need to know. Think about it, guys. Think about it. We need to be up into heavenly places. We were built for this. This is what we were built for. We've been given the information that the time is now. You're able to do it. That February 7th message, you're able to do it. Today at lunch in prayer with the Lord, I'm thinking I can't, I'm not even hearing Him right. But the word He gave me was surrender. And when I pulled up the Strong's, it said, give self wholly to. Let go. Surrender. He said, close your eyes and let go. So guys, I'm telling you, that's something that's going to be able, we're going to be able to do it. We're going to be able to do it. We're not going to have to be sleeping and not have control over it that we're aware of. We're going to be able to do it. We're going to be able to enter in. We're going to be able to see what's going on. Talk to other people that are there. It's going to be a truly exciting time. So guys, I'm submitting this for your discernment. I want you to go to the Lord about it. I want you to dig into the Word about it. I want you to ask the Father about it. I myself am going to be doing the same. I'm taking some much needed time off this weekend. My husband and I are going to take just some downtime by ourselves, away from the house, away from the packing, away from the stress, and just, take a few days and just have some R&R. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be talking to the Lord about it. I'm going to take my little notepad with me. I'm going to take my little pen, and I'm going to make sure that I hang on to anything that I feel like, and I feel like the Lord is trying to tell me. But the word is surrender. The word is surrender. So guys, I think we just need to get out of our own way. And if anybody has already had the experience of being able to do this, if you've moved ahead faster than I have, quicker, you're ahead of the path, you're further along than I am, I would love to hear from you. I'm sure there are others that would too. I know it seems a little outlandish, but guys, I'm here to tell you, when He put that thought into my mind about that particular scripture, I had to go back and look at it, and I said, it says He was in the Spirit. That's not just praying. That's not just praise and worship. That's just not talking in tongues. That's, you know, that he was in the Spirit. And so even just to confirm that and look it up, I went back through, I pulled up those two strong words, and guys, so I'm here to tell you that's our next step. That's our next step. We see it coming. We know that this is something that we're going to have to do. Information's going to be given to us. We're going to be getting revelation that we need to know and have as time is coming to be able to help others and guide people through into safety when we're going through to do the harvest during some turbulent times. And so, guys, again, I want you to discern the information. I want you to take it to the Lord. Pray over it. Ask Him for confirmation for you. If you receive confirmation, then share it with others and make sure that they know too. This is our next step. This is what we're getting ready to do. So guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you for coming back, sitting through another long video. I'm sorry. I don't think that there is any information that can get out to you any quicker when we're dealing with stuff like this. And so I want you to seriously pray over it. Okay, guys? All right. Everyone, have a wonderful weekend. I love you all in the Lord. God bless you. I'm keeping all of you in prayer. I know there's a lot of you struggling right now. I'm keeping you in prayer. I'm going to keep you lifted up. But guys, we're on the verge of stepping into the wild blue yonder, and He told me that in a message. He told me that in a message not long ago, probably about 6 months ago. You're getting ready to step into the wild blue yonder. And guys, it's getting ready to get exciting. So hang on to your hats. We're getting ready to take off and soar. Love you guys.